Hi everyone, and welcome to the March8 Show, the first ever March8 Show for that matter. I'm your host today, Emily Cook, and I'm joined by my friend and lovely colleague, Lucy Buckles, who of course is the editor-in-chief of March8 magazine. So please welcome her to the stage.
Hi Emily, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Are you excited for today's show?
Absolutely. I feel like we've been talking about this live show for such a long time, and we've been planning it, and everything's just been leading up to this moment. So I'm really excited to connect with our audience and just to really chat with them, really. How about you?
Definitely. These shows are really exciting. I think we get to see who's tuned in from the world and hopefully have our audience engage in our poll and share their opinions and thoughts as well. So I'll give a little rundown of today's show. So we will be bringing you the latest and greatest news on women in business, discussing some exciting events that have happened in recent days, as well as being joined by a special guest who will be joining us very shortly. So stick around for that.
And of course, we want everybody who is watching to comment and in the chat and to just tell us where you come from. And if you've got any questions for us, we will happily answer them. And also, don't forget to vote in our poll, which you can do in the comments. So today's poll is, what is the best way for your colleagues to support other women in the workplace? And the first answer is to be an active voice and speak up. Secondly, to be a good listener. And thirdly, to engage in women's initiatives and events. So I think that's actually a really good poll to get people talking, and hopefully it'll generate some really good responses for later in the show.
Yeah, definitely. And so the poll is in the comments in the chat. So if you can just vote in there, share your opinion, and also pop in the comments if there's anything else you think that can be done to, support your fellow female colleagues in the workplace. So I'm really excited for the outcome of that poll, by the way. I think these polls are a great way to get conversations starting and hopefully, initiatives for that matter, kind of building and beginning. So more of that later in the show. I think it would be really good to do a quick roundup of the month of March, because obviously for us, it was a huge one. Obviously, we had the launch of our magazine, we had a live show, we released a top 100 list. Obviously, internationally, it was Women's History Month. So, Lucy, as the editor-in-chief, why don't you kick us off with the magazine launch?
Of course. So obviously, March 8, we launched on the 8th of March, which is also International Women's Day. And of course, I'm going to be a little bit biased because I'm the editor of the magazine, but I think it was amazing, the amount of content and the amount of women that we actually managed to speak to. And it was great for me because I managed to speak to so many different women from different paths and different careers, all across the globe to really understand their different stories. And I feel like the woman we included in the launch issue really reflected what we want to bring to society. Obviously, Emily, you would have seen the magazine. What would you say is your favorite feature, if you could just name one?
You know what? I think it's really tricky because you're exactly right. The magazine was a really good starting point to kind of showcase what March 8 is all about. But for me, I do have to probably say that it's Mandy Hickson. For those who saw it on our socials or those who know her personally, her story is absolutely amazing. Obviously, Lucy, you interviewed her, which must have been great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, I mean, when I interviewed Mandy, when I first met Mandy, she's just one of those characters where you can just listen to all day. And her story is absolutely amazing. And I couldn't believe some of the things that she was saying because she was just truly remarkable. And for those who haven't actually managed to read the feature yet, I would highly recommend it. But a very, very quick rundown on her is that she was obviously a former Royal Air Force pilot, former RAF pilot. She was, I think, the second lady to fly on the front line of the Royal Air Force. And back when she started, obviously the dynamic of the Royal Air Force was completely different to what it is now. And it's because of women like Mandy that the Royal Air Force is more inclusive, and it is the very safe and again inclusive environment that it is today. And she's very open, she's very honest, and she really talks about a lot of situations which were very hard for her, but she managed to stick through it, and she managed to show really positive change. One of the things that really stuck in my mind with it, and we mentioned it in the feature, is that when she had just started out, she wasn't actually able to order a pint at the bar because she was a woman. And I found that amazing, because, well, not amazing, but I couldn't believe it, because you can't imagine not being able to be served a pint because it's a man's drink. So she shares how when she would go to the bar, she would have to buy 9 pints for her flight, and then she'd have to buy 2 half pints for herself. But I loved it because she said that every time she did it, and she always bought 2 half pints rather than getting a half pint and then going back. She always stood her ground with it. And I think things like that, stories like that, really resonated with me, because it was like, these are the kind of women that we need more of in society. So I completely agree. I can understand why she was so inspirational to you, and you like that so much. Yeah.
No, definitely. And I think that kind of showcases the type of women that we're looking to feature and kind of elevate. But obviously that was my favorite feature. Did you have, I feel bad like asking the editor of the magazine what their favorite thing was, but what was your favorite feature to write?
It is tough. It is tough for me. I'd probably say one of my favorite women that I met as well, if I can call her a favorite, was probably Natalie Carnes. She was so lovely and down to earth. And I think why I liked her story so much is because she really did start from nothing. She started a business completely on her own, and she made it out of a passion. She wasn't hungry for money or anything like that. It was literally she saw a problem and a gap in the market, and she acted on it, and she's created this really fantastic product, Oh My Lash. And she's just had so much success with it because it's a brilliant product. And she's in major retailers now, so Boohoo, Misguided, River Island, New Look, and her story is just amazing. And I think it's so inspirational to see how you can go from nothing to such a big brand, and there's so much potential, and that's why she was our first rising star. So again, I think Natalie was probably one of the people that really inspired me. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think it was a great first edition. You should absolutely be proud of yourself. And also, huge shout out to Bex, our magazine designer, who absolutely killed it with our first edition. Like, we couldn't be more amazed of how gorgeous it looks. So shout out to Bex. I hope she's watching, and that was for you. But also, we should probably mention the Top 100 supplement that we recently launched. Obviously it was the top 100 inspirational women, so obviously in almost impossible to narrow down, but we did feature 100 women in a kind of mini magazine style supplement with kind of short bios about them, and it was obviously really beautifully designed as well. So Lucy, do you want to go into further details about that, and maybe who your favorite to learn about was?
Oh, okay, yeah. So the top 100 inspirational women was such a journey. It was amazing, because we tried to include so many, 100 women, but it sounds like a lot. But when you actually think about how many different people there are, and each woman is on a different path, and we wanted to really include as many as possible that represented different aspects of life. So it was a really, really tough job to actually narrow just down the top 100. And I think I really loved writing the supplement, because even people that I knew were inspirational, for example, like Oprah, we include Oprah. I didn't really know a lot about her story. So I think that gave me, and obviously our readers, the chance to actually understand what these women have been through, their story, their journey, and what they really want to project onto the wider world. So I think that the supplement for me is amazing for that. Regarding my favorite to learn about, I'd have to say Shelly Brunswick, and she is the COO of Space Foundation. And first and foremost, anybody who is into space is really cool, in my opinion, anyway. And I had heard of Shelly before. I knew a little bit about her, but she was another one of the ladies that I just really got to really understand the story of, and she's doing such great work for women, and really advocating more women to get into the STEM sector and the space sector, and really just doing everything that she can to make it a more inclusive environment. So for that, I think I really liked Shelly the most. So I really enjoyed writing and reading about Shelly. How about you though?
Off the back of that, just thinking about it, is during when you were younger and people always ask like what you want to be when you grow up, and astronaut was always like such a number one thing. I wonder why, like, I don't know, I wonder where that changes, because I remember when I was younger, I was like, I want to go to the moon, and not so much anymore.
It kind of hits in, doesn't it? It's like, oh, we'll never be able to do that. And I think that's why Shelley is so remarkable, because she's actually sitting there and being like, no, you can. Like, if you want to do it, you can, you know. And I think that's why I like it, because everybody, like you said, everybody wants to be an astronaut at one point of their life.
Oh, come on. Yeah, who doesn't want to go in a spaceship and fly out to space, see the stars?
Yeah, but I think it does always seem like such an unattainable goal, doesn't it? It's like, oh, I'm not going to be a rocket scientist. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. But Shelley is, you know, living, breathing proof that you can. So
yeah, no, I love that. And to answer your question, I think picking one that I'm really proud to feature, or that we're really proud to feature in the top 100, is probably the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement. Obviously, it was founded back in like 2013, but obviously it picked up huge traction in the past few years. For some unfortunate reasons, but once again, it's a huge movement. And I think what's really important about our supplement is that we get to showcase these sort of activists and voices and movements, because they have such a huge impact on the globe, that I think it's so important that we really elevate them and show, you know, that we recognize them for their amazing work. So obviously you can see here on the screen and behind me on my banner, they're just 3 really awesome women who are really giving their all to do great things. So I think they're probably my favorite feature that we had. So yeah, love those. And I should probably mention that the top 100 isn't in a particular order. Obviously, how can we rank women across the world and different industries? So it is just alphabetical. So feel free, the link's in the chat, to scroll through, read all their stories, read all their bios, because you will probably learn a lot, especially if you think you know them. You might actually learn something new. So moving on slightly, I wanted to talk about the March 8 launch event as well, obviously, which we had on March the 8th at the Soho Hotel in London. It was a super exciting event. Lucy, I'll get you to kind of give me your thoughts on it in a second, but I think you know, it's important to say that we were showcasing 7 amazing speakers with panels, a great audience who was super interactive, and just some great stories, and a real buzz was in that room that day. And it was genuinely so exciting to see, kind of sit back and see, okay, this is what March 8 is doing. Okay, this is kind of the impact that we can have on this group of people. So that was super exciting. But Lucy, what was your kind of favorite maybe speaker or favorite part of the day, or maybe like a story you have to share about it?
Oh, I say I'll take the easier question first of what was my favorite part of the event. I think I had 2 favorite parts, actually. I think my first favorite part is I was actually on the door greeting people when they came in, and I think that was one of my favorite parts. I know that may sound a little bit crazy, but it was so lovely to meet everybody face to face and see them and you know, like, show them around the event and just feel that energy, because everybody, obviously it was on International Women's Day, everybody was super engaged with really positive energy, and so that was really lovely. It really set the tone for a positive day for me. And then also the networking events as well, and obviously we had like tea and biscuits and lovely food and everything, and everybody, the networking events obviously came from the back of the speakers, so there was always such a lovely buzz in the air, wasn't there? It was always so vibrant, and people were chatting and people were mingling, and it was lovely to see, even if, like, you know, I wasn't necessarily talking to somebody at that point, it was lovely just to step back and see that we had helped all these women connect and meet, and that we were a part of this community. So I thought they were probably my favorite parts of the event. As the speakers, they were all fantastic. They were absolutely all fantastic. I would probably say that the one that sticks in my mind the most is Zara Janjua. And she's obviously the multi-hyphen, the TV presenter. She's obviously very, very well known. And her talk was on Just Effing Do It, which is obviously like quite a comical title anyway. But I loved that talk because I feel like it resonated with everything that I've actually learned through the process of being editor of March 8, is so many women say that they don't necessarily feel that they should be in the positions they are, or they're scared, or there's fear, or there's imposter syndrome, or lack of confidence, or, you know, there's all these various barriers are stopping you from doing what you want to do. And I think the reason why Zara had such an impactful talk was because she just says, kind of get over it, just do it. Like, it is easier said than done, but there is so much great stuff that you can do and achieve if you just effing do it. And I think she was funny, she was great, and I feel like everybody could relate to that. Absolutely everybody. Wherever you are in your career, whether you're right at the beginning or you're coming to the end, you can relate to having that experience. So I thought she hit the nail on the head for me. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it's funny. She was chuffed that she got away with that title, by the way. I remember when she started her speech, she was like, how did I get away with this? And we were just like, it's who you are. We love it. We accept it. And also, just want to mention that B is in the comments here. And she said that all speakers were so inspiring. And Rebecca said it was an amazing day as well, which I can't agree more with. Hi, Bex. But yeah, in terms of what I enjoyed the most, and honestly, I had a bit of a moment where I was like nearly gonna cry, because it was just like there was this genuine buzz of energy and like female energy of just like feeling inspired and sharing stories. I don't know, there was just something so exciting about seeing people who come together and just all share the same values. Like, they're from all different backgrounds and everything, but when you come together and all you really want to discuss and be there for is just for each other is super special. So I think that was my favorite part, was kind of the end where we got to wrap it up, and our host Scott just said some really encouraging words to one of our audience members, and I was just like, oh, I had a tear in my eye. But yeah,
I remember that thing, yeah.
But yeah, it was good. But yeah, I think my favorite speaker was Lucy Rissick. So she was great. She kind of spoke about women and video games, and that's a topic that I'm interested in naturally. And it was just one of them like really engaging, like interactive sessions, which is great because the audience was getting involved, and that was really awesome to see. So yeah, I loved the day. I won't stop going on about it until we have our next event. So as a good segue as that was, we're going to cut to a short break now. We're going to show you our March 8 live launch event show reel. So stick around, watch it, and we'll be back afterwards to interview our special guests. So I'll see you in 2 minutes.
See you in 2 minutes.
Welcome to the first March 8 Live on International Women's Day.
The motto for March 8 is educate, motivate and elevate.
March 8 have asked me today to talk to you under this theme of educate. So what makes you confident?
There are 2,000 job openings in the games industry. We need more women in it.
At the end of the day, it's about just be yourself.
All possibilities are there for you to just grab. So with that, I say thank you and good night.
It's great to be invited to attend March 8 Live. It's an extremely exciting event and it's great to support women. I've heard some amazing speakers and I've met some lovely women as well, and I will be definitely staying in touch with them.
I want it to empower you to own your own career and really figure out what you want to do going forward.
Please take this away from it. Just if you want to do something, just do it.
And there we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the short break. I hope you enjoyed. That was the March 8 launch event show reel. And I just realised I'm in front of the same sign. I look like I must be obsessed with this thing. But as you can see, it was a super exciting event. I think it's obviously easy to talk about it, but when you show it off like that, it does look great. So it's just exciting to be able to say that, you know, that was our little baby that we put together, and there's more to come. Because actually on June 23rd to the 24th, we have March 8 Live Women in STEM, which is, here we go, which is a co-hosted, co-located event with Tech and AI Live, Cloud and 5G Live, and Cyber Live. And that is all part of Tech Live London, which is super exciting. We get to put March 8 on a stage there and in front of an audience of slightly different people, you know, in relation to our first event. It's going to be a bit more tech-based, and we've got our own stage where obviously we have some really amazing women who are sharing their stories, their challenges, their journey to be where they are today as leaders in STEM. So go ahead and grab your tickets, whether that's in person or virtually. There'll be a link in the comments, but you can also check out our webpage on our website, march8.com. So enough of that. I think next in the show, we're joined by our guest speaker. Most of you know her as the Chief Operating Officer of BizClick, but March 8 truly wouldn't exist without her. So please join us in welcoming Stacy Norman to the show.
Hello. Hi, Stacy. Hi, how are you?
Good, are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us and for just telling our audience a little bit more about March 8. And obviously you are the brains behind the brand. So could you just tell us a little bit more about how you thought of the idea and yeah, just where everything came from?
March 8 was kind of came off the back of our top 100 women last year. After that went live, to say my LinkedIn messages increased was, yeah, within the first, I would say 2 days, I had 64 messages thanking us for actually having somewhere where women can have a voice and an opinion, and were actually recognised within their industries. So, you know, that's kind of where March 8 came from. The difficulty was trying to find a team that had the same mission and vision in mind as I did. So, you know, this kind of started last April, but we didn't start March 8 until 7 months ago. So, yeah, it was a journey, but obviously, as you see from the show reel, it's been a really successful one.
No, yeah, absolutely. And it's a really great time to be at the forefront of, you know, elevating and supporting women. So I guess kind of the next question is, what were the main goals that you wanted to achieve through the March 8 platform?
Well, as everyone knows, our mission is to educate, motivate and elevate women. So for me, it was to educate young women who were maybe starting their career. I feel a lot of women don't really know where their career needs to go. There's no real kind of mentorship into educating women on different types of career. As we see from stats, women tend to go into the same kind of jobs. So, you know, it's educating women to look outside the box and to follow their heart and their passion as to what they're good at. Motivating those women who are maybe a little bit trapped in their career journey and need a little bit of motivation to keep them going and working hard, and to elevate those women, not just in business, but in society as well, who are achieving things that are just kind of unbelievable, really.
That's amazing. Yes, it's great. But how did you feel when you first pitched the idea to our CEO, Glenn White? Were you nervous or apprehensive? How do you think he was going to sit with the idea?
Well, I think for a CEO and a COO to work really well together, you have to have a real good bond and a mutual respect. And as everyone knows, I have abundance of respect for Glenn. He's kind of the only CEO I've ever worked for who gave me a platform where I actually have a voice and an opinion, not just in the boardroom, but I guess across the floor. So for me, going to Glenn, it was pretty easy. It was literally a 10-minute conversation. Glenn, what do you think about launching a magazine or a community based around our top 100? Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. You do it. Just bring me a business plan. So put that together. We sat down for an hour and he said, yeah, roll it out. I think it's a brilliant idea. So, you know, Glenn is a massive advocate of March 8. And without him, we wouldn't be here today. So.
Yeah, and obviously, like we just spoke about, we had a super busy month of March with the launch, with the mentorship, etc. What were the highlights for you, would you say?
Obviously seeing the magazine go live. I remember all of us eating breakfast in the morning, and we're all like, oh, when's it going live? And we were all super excited, but also very, very nervous, because I think when you're launching a magazine and doing an event on the same day, you're kind of worried, is anyone going to read it? Is anyone going to turn up? But, you know, the one thing I love about March 8 is our unit as a team is just phenomenal. We all work together really well. We're all different ages, from different backgrounds, but honestly, the passion between all of us is phenomenal. So I'm never worried about what's going to be achieved. I mean, Bex is a fantastic designer. Emily, you are amazing at marketing, and Lucy, the stories you write are phenomenal. So I knew it was going to be successful, but for me, it was, like Emily said earlier, the passion in the room at our event. I don't really think I expected those women to kind of feel that way, and myself to feel that way. And a big shout out to Scott, because I guess at the end of the show, when he kind of offered a mentorship program to someone in the audience, that kind of just took my breath away, and everyone's reaction to that. It was just, the passion in the room was phenomenal, and not really what I expected. So yeah, it's been a great couple of months, and I couldn't be prouder of the team.
Fantastic. What would you say you are most looking forward to in the future?
Oh gosh. Well, obviously we've got our event coming up in June. For me, my passion is the March 8 Academy, because I have young children. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I am constantly not pushing her, but trying to encourage her to look at her career now, think about what she wants to do. So for us, starting the March 8 Academy and working with girls from the age of 11 up to 18, and talking about ideas and suggestions for career paths, but talking about real life. You know, you don't have to follow the crowd. You don't have to be the same as everyone else. You don't have to have the same career or job or ambitions. You can be your own person, and you don't have to worry about anybody else. And for me, as a mum, that's massively important that young girls know that, to keep in sport, to keep playing an instrument, and to not be afraid to be who you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Lucy, didn't mean to cut you off. Absolutely, I think there's just some really exciting things that are happening, and as you can see, your passion is in it. All of our hearts are in it. So the fact we get to use our platform to help young girls, women, you know, in the middle of their career, and even who are solidly confirmed in their career, it's just really exciting. We get to have such an impact. But unfortunately, I think that is all we have time for in terms of the interview, Stacey. But thank you for jumping on. I'm sure we'll have you back in future episodes.
Thanks, Stacey. See you soon. Bye.
Awesome. All right. So we're about to wrap up the show. I think we can kind of look at the results of the poll, which is super exciting. So let me see if we have any. Here we go. So it's the final time to vote in the poll. If you haven't already, if you didn't see, the question was, what is the best way that colleagues can support women in the workplace? As you can see, it's below. So please share your comments, share your ideas. What does your business do? Do you have any initiatives or any ways that you kind of support your female colleagues? We'd love to hear. Reach out personally or do it in the comments. But I think now we can jump to the results. Lucy, would you like to do the honours, or shall I?
I actually wanted to hear what you thought your answer would be first before we actually go to everybody else's. What was your answer?
I like that. So obviously reading out the answers just quickly. So 1 is be an active voice and speak up. 2, be a good listener. 3, engage in women's initiatives. I originally voted for be an active voice and to speak up, because I know that looks like, well, obviously right, but there is a lot you can do to support your female colleagues. Make sure that their voice is getting heard. Make sure that you know, when they bring ideas to the table, that they are part of a discussion. You know, there are a lot of issues with imposter syndrome and just anxiousness about stepping forward as a female. But also, you know, if there's any workplace discussions that need to be had regarding female related health or things like that, and I mean obviously like menopause and maternity leave, then be a supporter, be an ally, recognize that those are hardships that women have to go through, and be an active voice in those communities, whether you're a man or a woman, I think is what my answer is, if that makes sense. But I think, Lucy, what do you think your answer is?
I was actually really stuck between being an active voice and also engaging women in women's events and initiatives. But as you've said, the active voices one, I'll say the latter. And I think I would say that because I feel like sometimes you just need to get the ball rolling. Sometimes you literally just need to be that one woman who says, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to this event. I'm going to implement this. And then hopefully, and more often than not, other people join. And I think that's why it's really, really important. But I will let you do the honors of what everybody else said.
Oh, well, thank you. So the results are in. We have as the winner, drum roll, which we had a drum roll. The winning answer is answer 1, be an active voice and speak up. So do I win anything? I don't think so. Yes, so we had 65% for be an active voice, 9% for be a good listener, and 26% for engage in women's initiatives. Obviously, I think all of the above. I'm sure we all do, but it's more of an opinion piece and more of, what do you think you do? What do you think everyone else can do? Maybe a little bit better to help support their female colleagues. Great poll, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I think now we can officially wrap up the first March 8 show. How exciting was that?
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. So as a final wrap up, I just want to remind everyone that we have the March 8 Live Women in STEM event happening on June 23rd and 24th. So go book your tickets in person or virtual. We have our next magazine coming up on May the 8th. You guessed it. And some exciting things in terms of mentorships and another live show in 2 weeks' time. So that is all we have time for. Thank you so much, Stacey, for jumping on. Thank you, Lucy, for joining me today. And thank you to everyone watching. It's been a real good time, and I hope to see you all soon.
Thanks. Bye.